मैं जानता हूं जिनके खिलाफ एक्शन ले रहे हैं वो बहुत ताकतवर लोग हैं। बरसों बरस तक वो सरकार का सिस्टम का हिस्सा रहे। संभव है कई जगह किसी राज्य में आज भी विकसित सत्ता का हिस्सा हो। बरसों बरस तक उन्होंने भी एक इकोसिस्टम बनाया है। आज देश में करप्शन के खिलाफ कार्रवाई करने के लिए राजनीति की इच्छा शक्ति में कोई कमी नहीं है। आपको कहीं पर भी हिचकने, कहीं रुकने की जरूरत नहीं है।
Watching News Epicenter with me, Maria Shakil. As multiple opposition leaders face corruption investigations, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has sent out a message to the CBI during the agency's Diamond Jubilee celebrations. Addressing senior officers, Prime Minister Modi said, "The corrupt should not be spared, as the powerful will no longer be shielded." The Prime Minister said that the nation stands behind the agency, adding that officers should ignore political jabs and focus on their job to root out corruption. Prime Minister Modi also criticized the opposition for activating the ecosystem whenever it comes under attack to malign India's institutions. The opposition has come together under one political banner when it comes to accusing the government of misusing central agencies. Opposition parties have hit the streets and even derailed parliament in its offensive against the centre. However, in the election battlefield, the anti-corruption plank has repeatedly boosted the BJP, namely brand Narendra Modi. On the road to 2024, with the crucial state elections around the corner, Prime Minister Modi has once again mobilized the same election card. But amidst the escalating political war, who is truly walking the talk on corruption? Before I bring in the guests, here's what the Prime Minister said.
आज देश में करप्शन के खिलाफ कार्रवाई करने के लिए राजनीति की इच्छा शक्ति में कोई कमी नहीं है। आपको कहीं पर भी हिचकने, कहीं रुकने की जरूरत नहीं है। जिनके खिलाफ एक्शन ले रहे हैं वो बहुत ताकतवर लोग हैं। बरसों बरस तक वो सरकार का सिस्टम का हिस्सा रहे हैं। संभव है कई जगह किसी राज्य में आज भी विकसित सत्ता का हिस्सा हो। बरसों बरस तक उन्होंने भी एक इकोसिस्टम बनाया है। इकोसिस्टम अक्सर उनके काले कारनामों को कवर देने के लिए, आप जैसी संस्थाओं की छवि बिगाड़ने के लिए एक्टिव हो जाता है। ये लोग आपका ध्यान भटकाते रहेंगे, लेकिन आपको अपने काम पर फोकस रखना है।
So if we were to compare the UPA and the NDA regimes, here is a clear difference in the political lines surrounding investigations. Just look at these graphics. In the 10 years of the UPA regime, 43 opposition leaders were under the scanner. While under the NDA, since 2014, that number has gone up to 118. Moreover, 29 Congress leaders and allies were under the scanner during the UPA, while the probe lens has been on 6 BJP leaders under the NDA regime since 2014. So who are the big names for the opposition currently under the CBI scanner? Manish Sisodia, Aam Aadmi Party MLA and former Delhi Deputy Chief Minister, is currently in jail over the liquor gate scam. There is another Aam Aadmi Party Neta. This is former Delhi Health Minister Satyendra Jain, who is also in jail in connection to a money laundering case. Then, BRS leader and Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao's daughter K. Kavita is also under the scanner for alleged links to the Delhi Liquorgate case. RJD founder Lalu Yadav and several members of his family have been charge-sheeted in an alleged land for jobs scam. Karnataka Congress President D.K. Shivkumar has been quizzed by the CBI in a disproportionate assets case. So if you look at the list is certainly pretty long. Joining me now, Shazia Ilmi, BJP National Spokesperson. We have Advocate Arshpreet Kardial of the Congress, Khaliqur Rahman representing the BRS, Kapil Sankla, Senior Lawyer of the Supreme Court, SM Khan, former CBI officer. I'm going to begin with you, Shazia. Over 25 Congress leaders and allies were under the CBI scanner during the UPA era. Does the Congress have a point when it says it never shielded its leaders?
Well, the fact of the matter is, whether it's Mr. Chidambaram or Sonia ji herself and her son Rahul Gandhi, they're out on bail on matters of graft, and there are serious charges against them. And there are several leaders who have been out on bail, and there are serious charges of graft against them. I remember in 2011, the entire Anna movement was against various ministers of the UPA. And when it came to each and every ministry of theirs, if you look at whether civil aviation, power, energy, agriculture, and defense, of course, the most famous, there was just every ministry and every department was completely embroiled in charges of graft and corruption, and serious matters at that.
No, but then the point that is being made here, Shazia, is
yes. The Commonwealth
so if anything, the Congress ensured investigation against its own. Then why does the BJP become a washing machine is the charge that is coming in from the opposition. That any opposition leader who joins the BJP, he has all his cases cleared. None of the agencies go after him.
This has been, Maria, this has been the discussion we've been having for the last, I think, a month now. And I think whether it's BJP leaders and in matters similar as Rahul Gandhi's, where the court has convicted senior leaders, there are 2 BJP leaders included in that, and there's 6 overall in the entire list. So it is not that there's no action being taken. If you look at what's happening in Karnataka, so there are charges and they have been caught.
Arshpreet,
so it's
politically speaking,
over, and I can give a list, and I've given it before, but I don't even think it's very current or relevant. Because, this narrative is made. Let me finish, because this is what I've been saying for the last 1 month. And frankly speaking, it doesn't take away from the fact that there are charges. There is a liquor excise policy, and there are charges of graft, and there is, when it comes to TMC,
multiple opposition leaders
of cash found.
Are actually facing very damning corruption charges, which have not been dismissed by the courts. None of them have got any relief from any of the courts. Then can you still claim vendetta?
Thank you. When Ms. Ilmi just said that, this so-and-so leader of the Congress party is out on bail, as if being on bail meant you are guilty. Well, she should know and understand what the principle of natural justice says. It says it is innocent until proven guilty, not the other way around. So please get a fact straight. But if you want to go by this logic, BJP, according to ADR, has the maximum, BJP MPs have the maximum criminal cases pending against them. Go by this logic for them and oust them from a party. Number 2, this is yet another technique of the Bharatiya Janata Party to divert attention from 2 issues. One is the Adani issue. We are seeking a JPC probe on that. This is zero tolerance. Order a probe, please. We'll see if you really have zero tolerance. If he'd be guilty, he'd be found guilty. If he'd be innocent, he'd be let off the hook. Number 2, the state leaders of Karnataka, who have so many corruption allegations and cases pending against them, the Bharatiya Janata Party wants to divert attention from that. Number 2, we demand a probe from the Bharatiya Janata Party for these following leaders: Mr. Rane, Mr. Pokhriyal, Mr. Chauhan, Mr. Roy, Mr. Yedurappa, Mr. Vishwasharma, and the Reddy brothers. Please order a probe. Let's see if they are innocent or guilty. Why have you not?
Let's get into these 3 specific cases then. Kapil Sankla, this is a point that is repeatedly made by the opposition leaders, that if anything, this entire anti-corruption plank is, of course, advantage BJP because it just gives fillip to brand Narendra Modi. But when it comes to action against its own, those leaders who have joined the BJP, from the Congress, they get some kind of clean chit from the investigating agencies?
Well, that allegation is a political allegation, but the legal answer to that would be this: that if there is an investigation going on against a particular person, irrespective of whether he belongs to one party or the other, can he claim today that just because there is no action against somebody else, you can't investigate against me? I mean, look at the slippery slope argument here. That one person would say that, I might be doing a crime or a criminal activity, but don't take any action against me because you haven't taken action against X, Y, or Z. That can never be the argument, and that can never be the defense. So, as far as whether action has been taken against somebody else or not is concerned, that is a separate issue. The issue here is this: whether the CBI is conducting investigation fairly, not referring to investigation or referring an investigation against somebody. That's another question. That's not a legal question. That's a question of politics. But legally, if the CBI is investigating something and it sticks, in the sense that if it goes to the court and the court says, yes, there is some merit, there is a cognizable offence, and I'm inclined to hear the matter, and therefore please file the charge sheet at a subsequent stage, which means that there is some merit to it, and the CBI is doing its job. So unless and until you come and say that, I have been discharged, there was nothing against me, it was all castles in the air, then as far as those allegations are concerned, CBI is doing its job. It is doing it without fear and without fervor, because the checks and balances have been given, in the sense that there is a CVC that has the power of superintendence over everything that the CBI does as far as corruption matters are concerned. And then there is the court, where there is an onus on the CBI to prima facie prove its case, so that the case can be further investigated, inquired into, the charge sheet filed, and the trial takes place.
Okay.
Otherwise, the courts are going to throw those matters beforehand, which doesn't happen.
Yes, but SM Khan, since you have worked in the CBI, political subservience has always been a charge against this institution, yet its conviction rate is the highest among all the investigating agencies.
Yes, certainly, Maria. CBI's conviction rate is very high. It is about 75% at the moment. And this is all generally about corruption cases and economic offenses. But the only thing is that whenever CBI takes up a matter, definitely it takes within the parameters of law, and it brings the case to the court, and then to the logical conclusion, either it ends in conviction or acquittal. But the most important thing is the limitation on the powers of the CBI. In fact, I have raised this issue a number of times, that the CBI takes an all India statutory authority to investigate corruption against even public servants. It does not have a law to support its operation. It depends on the mercy of the states. And at present, 9 states have withdrawn their general consent to CBI to operate in these states. And CBI can take up only those cases which are given to it by Honorable Supreme Court or the High Courts. CBI, as far as the allegations of political influences are concerned, I agree with the speaker just now that whenever CBI takes up a case, it is based on some legal merit, it is based on evidence. Sometimes the timing of action and the pace of CBI investigation becomes questionable, for which CBI has to take a lot of care. Naturally, CBI, nobody can take a defense that if I am an accused, there are so many other accused, why you are taking against me. But certainly, if there are 10 accused and there are 10 reports available with CBI at a particular time, CBI should start logical investigation in all the cases and should not depend on any particular event or moment or occasion to start its investigation. CBI does it professionally. CBI has very competent professional people, and its motto, industry, impartiality, and truth.
But Mr. Khan, during the UPA, the courts had come scathingly against the CBI, calling it a caged parrot. Right now, the entire opposition is rallying behind these institutions. In fact, they are criticizing these institutions because just about every opposition leader today is facing some kind of investigation. So, this charge of the CBI's fairness, once it was being raised by the judiciary, right now by the opposition leaders.
Yeah, there are issues about that. There are allegations about that. The problem is that CBI, you please study the structure of the CBI and powers given to the CBI by the government of the day, any government. CBI functions as a department of the government. It is an attached office of Ministry of Personnel and Training. Though for investigation purposes it reports to the court, but it depends on the government of the day and state governments for many, many matters. So what is needed is to insulate CBI from the government. It is necessary that it should be made a totally autonomous investigating agency. And Supreme Court tried to do this in the judgment of Hawala case in 1996, but also they could not do much because they practically brought it under Central Vigilance Commission. Central Vigilance Commission is again a government body. So the need of our is to insulate CBI from the government control, give it financial autonomy, give it administrative autonomy, give it an autonomy to select its officers, because the entire process depends on the government of the day. So there is a possibility of influences here and there. But if it is a totally independent agency like FBI, though FBI is also a part of Department of Justice in USA, but as far as the appointments are concerned and their financial resources are concerned, they all are very autonomous, as we have departments like Election Commission of India, CAG in India. Similarly, CBI should have some kind of, even you see, CBI cannot file a special leave petition in Supreme Court against a decision of the High Court without the clearance given by the Ministry of Law and Justice. Then what do you expect? Suppose CBI is not happy with the judgment of High Court, it wants to go to Supreme Court, it has to take first concurrence of the Central Registry section of the Law Ministry in the Supreme Court. So, letter rogatory. CBI cannot issue a letter of request of investigation in a foreign country without the clearance by the government of the day.
That's right.
So, these all are handicaps in the functioning of the CBI. Then there are limitations on CBI created by various legislative amendments in Prevention of Corruption Act, where CBI cannot take certain action. Particularly
so, but overall, the point that you are making, certainly, Mr. Khan, is that it's an agency which is doing its job. It may have some kind of handicap, but then it is very transparent in its functioning.
So what I am saying is that we want to make it perfectly autonomous, and this is entirely under the control of the government to see that CBI is given a lot of autonomy. Then we will have expectations from the CBI that CBI should function as a purely independent investigating agency without being influenced by any political formation or political.
That all these leaders who are crying vendetta, be it Manish Sisodia or Satyendra Jain or even K. Kavita, none of them have got any relief from the court. Even Lalu Yadav's cases have not been quashed by the courts. Then why say that there is vendetta? I mean, why make it political when you have to fight it legally? Khaliqur Rahman.
Is that yes. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. See, this is a clear case of the political vendetta, especially for the reason is because, everyone is against corruption. We all want that the corruption has to be dealt very strictly and very sternly and in a totally impartial manner. It should not be a selective targeting. But so, and another thing, what Mr. Khan has said, I fully agree with Mr. Khan that CBI has to be made a totally autonomous institution, autonomous body, so that it won't work under the direction or the supervision or the guidance of the government of the day. So the questions are being raised because unfortunately the CBI is receiving the instructions in the orders from their bosses, and accordingly they are compelled to work as per the instructions, which is very unfortunate, especially.
But then, I think my question is that this is a legal battle. If a leader is being investigated, probed for corruption or alleged corruption, then fight it out in the courts of India. Why make it political? You have faith in, I'm asking, do you have faith in the courts of India?
Absolutely. We
Okay.
have absolute
Then seek
faith
relief
in
from
our
the court of
judiciary.
India. That is the point.
Absolutely. Whenever it is needed, we are all going to the court. But
Okay.
see here, we have got every right to question the government for its selective approach, for its selective
So it is
targetism.
selective.
So why only that?
Okay.
Absolutely.
Shazia,
Why
this
only the
point,
opposition leaders?
this point of selective investigation under the NDA government since 2014, only 6 BJP leaders are under the scanner. Then are we to believe that that NDA has a very strong internal self-correcting mechanism that none of these leaders are actually indulging in any kind of corruption?
So, two things. One is that this is perhaps the first time in the Indian political history that we've had a government at the center for the last 8 years from where insane scams of corruption have not erupted. This is perhaps the first time that you can't blame any of the ministries, any of the leaders for any kind of a big ticket corruption or small ticket. Prime Minister has been a tough leader that way. But more importantly, when you hear Prime Minister speak today, as we all did, and yesterday, when he takes this, calls out this war on corruption, it's for everybody. And in a way, he is giving this message out to the CBI and to all the investigating agencies that you should not fear anybody. And this message is as much for his party as much as it for others. Because, you know, there are people from every party in the BJP.
No, but
and,
Shazia, can I interrupt you?
I think
Can I interrupt you?
strengthening of the system and this approach of the Prime Minister, whereby he says that, you know, do not fear it. Nobody can influence you. He also makes sure that CBI performs his job and is not taken in by any leader, be it the BJP or the senior leaders or the Congress or the CMs of other states as well of BJP. I think I see that because this is the only Prime Minister we have seen. I mean, Manmohan Singh had a very clean image. But his cabinet
so
did not.
Arshpreet,
So that's the point
scandals, the scandals of the UPA 2 era is seen as one of the reasons why Manmohan Singh government was defeated by the people of the country. How confident are you that this vendetta card will rally the voters against the BJP? Arshpreet, you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Maria.
Yes, please.
In many cases, it was also found out that the cases registered were wrong, they were false, and the people were also acquitted. Number two, if the Bharatiya Janata Party says there is zero corruption, why do they induct leaders who have cases pending against them vis-a-vis corruption? Rane, Mr. Roy, Suvendu Adhikari, Captain Amrinder Singh, why do you induct them? Number two, why has the red corner notice against Mr. Choksi been withdrawn? What has the Bharatiya Janata Party tried to do against it? Why did you even let it happen in the first place? Mr. Choksi, who's concerned with so many thousands of crores, his notice gets withdrawn. No debate, discussion, nothing is done by the Bharatiya Janata Party in order to tackle that. Number three, the total number of cases, that have been disposed of by the Enforcement Directorate since 2005 are 25 cases. Total 25 cases have been closed. Number two, in PML, 1,700 raids were made. Prevention of Money Laundering Act. And how many cases reached to conviction? 9 only. Majority of the cases that are registered by ED, CBI, SEBI, IT are against the opposition parties. Why is it that there is not even a single BJP leader who has a single ED, CBI case pending against them?
Okay,
is
respond.
there any answer to that?
Please respond to this. Okay, let us speak. Yes, go ahead.
So I want to respond to this in terms of asset seized under PMLA Act by the Enforcement Directorate. We saw the figures now, and that is what the Prime Minister spoke about, that just 5 days back, that the conviction rate actually has gone up, and conviction is done by the courts. At most, ED does investigation and good investigation without any political motivation. Conviction cannot be done, and because investigation is being done now, conviction will come through later. So you can't put the blame of conviction on the ED. And I want to just give you some figures of what the Prime Minister said about ED the other day. I mean, more than the crores worth of assets of so many leaders have been seized. So I don't know, and it's not just politicians, but it's businessmen and many other high net worth individuals and
notice against Mr.
scam artists and conmen and corrupt businessmen who have been under the radar. So if agencies are working well, and if opposition leaders have been corrupt, so surely being in the opposition cannot be your argument to continue to be corrupt only because you're in the opposition. That doesn't give you carte blanche to do whatever you want to do.
Okay, specific answer, Shazia. That question being asked by Ashpreet. Please respond. Specific answer now.
What is the specific question?
Why was the red corner notice withdrawn against Mr. Choksi?
I don't know whether the red corner notice has been withdrawn against Mehul Choksi, and people believe that anybody who will bring them back will be this government, as we've seen in all the cases, whether it's Vijay Mallya or Mehul Choksi.
Okay, I have just enough time for the two experts, Kapil Sankla and SM Khan. SM Khan, first to you, and then I'll give the final word to Kapil Sankla. SM Khan, does this political, does this politicking, I will say, impact investigation? If the centre has given a free hand, is the politics just, I would say, white noise?
No, that's what I'm saying, that it has to be made a completely autonomous agency, not depending on either the central government or the state government for anything. Then only you can say that 100% CBI is capable of acting independently in all the cases. But as far as whatever case CBI takes up, there is some legal basis for that. It cannot take up cases just on conjectures or allegations. There has to be some prima facie case. But as I said earlier, that the timing of the cases sometimes becomes questionable, that you are taking up investigation against A at a particular time, not taking up investigations against B. So then it becomes certain aspects of raising questions about CBI. But if CBI becomes a totally autonomous agency, then I think the CBI can
okay, so this is about, you're raising the larger question of autonomy, but as far as the political will is concerned, that is certainly being emphasized by Prime Minister Modi here. Final word to you, Kapil Sankla. Yes, please.
But it has to be done also
very
practically.
To say this, that I just wanted to say that unfortunately you cannot take away the state's power, because that's a part of the constitution mandate of the security as far as an investigation being a state subject. CBI is an exception to the rule. You cannot give full autonomy, unfortunately, again, because as said by the Honorable Supreme Court, who watches the watchdog? And in this case, you need something like CVC or the centre to watch over CBI, otherwise it will become too powerful and too unwieldy. As far as the timing is concerned, yes, when a matter is sent to CBI, at times every political party that is prejudiced will of course raise the banner. But what is important is, and this is what I wanted to say, let us not see how well CBI functions by how its conviction rate is, because CBI cannot do everything under its power to secure a conviction. Let us see how effective it is in investigating the matters, because conviction at the end is the subject of the court and not of CBI. Investigation is the subject of CBI, and let us give it credit for the kind of investigation.
All right. Shazia Ilmi, Ashpreet Kardial, Khaliqur Rahman, Kapil Sankla and SM Khan, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.